8 predictions for Game of Thrones Season 8. The full trailer for the final season of Game of Thrones has been released, and the series looks to be ending in icy Armageddon, with Cersei coolly sipping wine as Westeros freezes. Game of Thrones always delighted in subverting expectations, but wrapping up this long, complex story with a satisfying and surprising twist will be quite the challenge. George R.R. Martin will surely be taking notes. Half the fun is predicting the plot points of this series, just so one can be proved horribly wrong as a beloved fan favorite meets their gory demise. Here are my 8 predictions for Season 8 of Game of Thrones. 1. Jaime will die a martyr. Jaime's arc has been one of the strongest in the series, with the character starting his story as a violent, incestuous sociopath before blossoming into a noble knight. As Jaime seeks to fill his embarrassingly blank page in the White Book with a heroic deed or two, I have a strong suspicion that the man has become too good to survive. What better way to leave an indelible mark on history, other than to die a martyr? If he lives, Tyrion will surely be tasked with writing the history of his sordid family, and his big brother might be the only member that he depicts flatteringly. 2. Cersei will almost drive humanity to extinction. Everybody dies is too bleak an ending for even this story, but I can't help but suspect that Cersei's stubbornness will have catastrophic consequences for the inhabitants of Westeros. The White Walkers and the Long Night acts as a direct parallel to our modern-day calamity, climate change, and Cersei's willingness to ignore and ridicule the problem is, unfortunately, far too accurate a reflection of our current leadership. The Night King is too empty a villain to close this story on. It's Cersei who will prove to be the real supervillain of this season, by turning her back on humanity. 3. Jon Snow won't escape death. While it appears that Daenerys and Jon are all set to ride their dragons together, and eventually get married and have unhealthy, inbred babies, as per Targaryen tradition, surely their story can't end so smoothly. Jon Snow already escaped death once, in a plot twist that surprised even Melisandre. Why exactly did the Lord of Light, if it was even him, choose to resurrect the man? It seems that Jon's life has a purpose, but that doesn't mean he gets to settle down, happily ever after. Jon might end up being the key to defeating the White Walkers, but he owes a debt to the many-faced god, and that guy doesn't forgive or forget. 4. Daenerys will survive everything. No matter what happens, I simply can't imagine Daenerys dying. If the series was to single out one central protagonist, it would definitely be her. The character is integral to the plot, the one responsible for the return of dragons, and ironically, the melting of the wall. In retrospect, this entire situation is all her fault. She's too important to die, but the story surely won't allow her a fairy tale ending. Thus, the demise of her lover, Jon Snow, is all but inevitable. 5. Tormund and Brienne will be granted a happy ending. After the trailer revealed Tormund to be alive and well, it seems likely that his adorable romance with Brienne might just come to fruition. Why? Simply because the romance has been brewing for so long, there has to be a payoff. The two characters are just inconsequential enough to survive, and provide the sweetness to whatever bittersweet ending the showrunners have planned. 6. Arya will provide a face swap plot twist. I'm almost certain that at some point during Season 8, somebody will do something insanely murderous and out of character, only to pull their own face off and reveal Arya. Perhaps she'll take a blade for a family member, or bake another flesh pie, but whatever it is, it's going to be a red herring. What else is she going to do with her oddly specific superpower? 7. Sansa will betray the family, somehow. Sansa's transformation into an ice-cold cynic might not have boded well for Littlefinger, but that doesn't mean the character doesn't still have the potential for a good betrayal. The Stark family, what's left of them anyway, is sure to receive one last loyalty test in the final season, and I have a suspicion that Sansa will fail.
She's seen the very worst side of Westeros, to the point where she might have absorbed a little bit of malice from all the terrible men in her life. 8. Bran won't do anything. Bran knows what's going to happen.
He's lost his humanity during his transition into the Three-Eyed Raven, and has grown distant from the real world, viewing it as dispassionately as one views fiction. Sure, he was nice enough to let his sisters know about Littlefinger's nefarious plans, but for this season, I think he's just going to sit it out and let fate do its thing. Those are my predictions for the final season. What are yours? Game of Thrones trailer for the final season brings the dead to Winterfell. By CNN. Winter has arrived, and so has a new trailer for Game of Thrones. After months of anticipation, fans of the HBO fantasy series finally got their first extended look at the show's final season. HBO released the official trailer for Season 8 on Twitter Tuesday, with a simple message stating, "The trailer is here." The roughly 2-minute preview opened with Arya Stark breathing heavy in darkness, speaking of the oncoming threat from the White Walkers, the army of the dead. "I know death. He's got many faces," Arya, played by Maisie Williams, says in the trailer. "I'm looking forward to seeing this one." The dark teaser, both literally and figuratively, offers glimpses of several major characters on the show, including Jon Snow, Kit Harington, and Daenerys Targaryen Emilia Clarke preparing battle at the Stark stronghold. The trailer had been viewed more than 11 million times as of Tuesday afternoon, according to a spokesperson for Twitter. Game of Thrones is not just one of the most talked about shows on television, it's also one of the most acclaimed. The series won Best Drama at the last Primetime Emmy Awards. Game of Thrones returns on April 14th. HBO, like CNN, is owned by Warner Media.